Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is season 2, episode 7 of Training for A. And what I want to talk to you today about is how I managed to win this trophy at the weekend. So let's get stuck into this, and this is how I won the South Downs Way 50. So yeah, the South Downs Way 50 mile is a great event put on by a company called Centurion Running, very popular organisation here in the south of the UK. Put on mainly, they do just put on 50 mile races and 100 mile races. I've done a few of them before, and for me, they really are the best company out there. So if you're looking, you want to get into some longer stuff, some 50s and 100s, then check out centurionrunning.com. So yeah, the 50 mile race started in a place called Worthing, just on the south coast, and finished down in Eastbourne, about 50 miles away. I think it was just under 50 miles in reality. And what we'll talk today about is I've got 3 or 4 things that I thought went really well during the race, and some sort of good tips that stuff that was just good during the race, and then a couple of things that weren't so good during the race and I really need to improve on. And then we'll just have a little chat about what's coming up next. So right, let's get stuck in. This is 4 things that I thought were really good. Right guys, so the first thing I really focused on is getting my pack as light as I possibly could, because over the course of 6, 7, 8, up to about 13 hours was the cut-off of this race. That's a lot of weight to be carrying around, and anything I just didn't need, I didn't want to be taking. So it was just simple things, like I switched out my regular normal head torch that I'd use for sort of up in the mountains, and just bought this lightweight sort of Petzl one. Reality, I probably wasn't going to need a head torch, so I didn't need something that was going to be great. I just wanted something that was fitted with the mandatory kit list. So this was 35 grams. My old head torch was 185 grams. There's a massive sort of saving just in a head torch, and this was about 20 quid. And it's actually really good, and I quite enjoy running around London with it. And yeah, for the purpose of running on the South Downs, that's kind of all you needed, really. Also, you need a mobile phone when you're out there, so I just bought the super cheap lightweight Nokia. Over 100 grams lighter than my regular iPhone. Again, just a massive saving there. And yeah, that's all I need, just a pay-as-you-go, super cheap, light phone. So that's kind of, you kind of see the point. Everything on the kit list, I just found the lightest thing I could find and put it in the pack. And that also was the same on the start line. I see so many people on the start line of these races, they have got their pack loaded up, and then they've got sort of every water bottle full as well. But the first aid station isn't really that far away, so you only need enough fluid to get yourself to the first aid station, and you can refill there. Now in the South Downs, the first sort of 10k was all, it wasn't all, but pretty much all uphill. It's a big sort of elevation gain. And I didn't want to be lugging 2 full bottles, a litre of water up there. So I only had enough water. I probably had about half a bottle of water, which may have been a bit risky. But again, super lightweight. And I just needed to get to the first aid station where I could then top up and then carry on the race from there. So at any point in the race, I just wanted to have as little weight on me as possible. And I think that made a really big difference with the sort of energy and how sort of fatigued you get during the race. So the next point is I went out on 3 separate occasions. One of them was actually last year, but more recently 2 separate occasions to run the course. And I think that is so invaluable in all sort of running really, but especially in trail running, that you know what's coming up. There's some really sort of tough, nasty hills out there on the South Downs Way, and knowing how long each of them are and just what they're like and what the terrain's like, it was just worth its weight in gold. And whenever there was like a turn in the town, or which way do we go, I had the maps and stuff on my watch, but it was just, I didn't really have to look down. I just knew every step of the route. all the way along. So yeah, if you can get out and if you've got some trail races coming up and they're in the UK, if you're in the UK and you can get and spend some time on the course, it is just worth, in my mind, it's really worthwhile. And it's just going to, that's familiarization. And then when you're out there in the race, you think, I was just here a few weeks ago and I know exactly where I'm going. And it just makes you, for me, it made me feel nice and relaxed because I just would think back to how I felt when I was out there on my little training run. And the next little thing I want to talk about was positive visualization. Now I didn't go in the race, perfectly honest, to try and win it, but I knew that if I was going to have a strong race, I probably would end up, well, I'm going to say winning it, but that just sounds really arrogant. I knew I'd be there or thereabouts if I had a really strong race. So I've visualized this trophy sitting behind me on this shelf for about the past 2 months. And it sounds so ridiculous. Every time I come into the front room, I just see it sitting there. And now it is there. It doesn't even seem that weird. I've just had this trophy in my head going through it for the last few months. And also another sort of weird little thing is how Centurion display their results on the website. The person that's leading gets this yellow line, whoever's in the lead going through the aid stations, and I've just visualized that yellow line with my name above it or below it in my head again for the last few months. And in my mind, standing on that start line, there was only one result that was going to happen. Now yeah, I completely get that sounds a bit arrogant, but it's just that positive visualization, that thing of yes, I'm here, I'm going to deliver, I'm going to do it, no questions asked. And whether you're a mid-packer, you just want to be out there, complete it, having that positive visualization, thinking of you crossing the finish line, all through Valencia, all through my training, I just had that clock above, had that clock and me visualizing running under that finish gantry all the time. Pretty much every run I went on, I could just see myself finishing it. So yeah, whatever your goal is in your race, I'm not saying whether you should go out to win, but whatever your goal is, just positive visualization, imagining yourself out there doing it, getting it done and achieving your goal. And it just really helps on race day when you're out there just putting into action everything that you've been practicing. And the last thing I really wanted to focus on was my sort of efficiency through the course. Now what I mean by that is basically the little time as possible spent in aid stations. Now the aid station people, volunteers at Centurion, are the best in the world. You cannot get better than Centurion volunteers. But I didn't really want to see them too much, and I didn't want to spend too much time hanging around chatting, because in previous races that's kind of been a bit of a downfall. You just get into a bit of a routine and suddenly you spent 5 minutes there chit-chatting away and your race is gone. So my strategy for that was I got 6 of these Salomon bottles, and you know how much you love these if you've seen my previous videos. But yeah, in each of these I use this Science and Sport Beta Fuel. It's quite similar to the Morton stuff, but Science and Sports version. And in each of these I put the Beta Fuel ready to go. So yeah, I started out in my pack, I just had these, no water, no liquid in them, just the Beta Fuel. I could come into the aid station with them ready, hand 2 bottles to one of the aid station volunteers and said, please fill that up with water. And as they're getting that out, I'm getting my old bottles out, squeezing any juice out of them onto the floor and then getting them back, and then take those 2 bottles and go. So I just thought that was by far the quickest way. So I'm not sort of trying to do all this sort of stuff and get your powder out in the aid stations. I didn't take on any fuel in the aid stations. I was completely self-sufficient. I just had gels myself, and then yeah, with these 6 bottles in the pack, they were ready to go. So all in all, it worked out. I think I spent about, according to Strava anyway, my stationary time was about 90 seconds for the whole race, which does seem about right. I only stopped 3 times at aid stations. The rest of them I just piled on through. Yeah, I didn't actually use that much fuel in the end. It was probably around about 2 litres of liquid and only a couple of gels, because they really weren't going down too well. I was getting some tight sort of stomach cramps, so it's pretty much all liquids all the way through. So yeah, 90 seconds stationary out of 6 hours 35, I'll take that. Yeah, a lot more time running and out there getting it done. So moving on to some things that really didn't go very well. Well, I touched on that there slightly with the nutrition. I only got 2 gels down over the course of a race. My nutrition strategy is good in my head, but in practice I really cannot sort of deliver that. And so I relied on the sort of the liquids and the cis beta fuel stuff. But yeah, the last 10K, I didn't have anything. I finished with pretty much 2 water bottles. I was just getting really nauseous and sick in my stomach. I was kind of running scared because I didn't really know how far ahead I was. Had no idea what my lead was or anything like that. And so, yeah, I just got myself into a real pickle. You know, by the time I finished, I was in a bit of a mess, really. And it did take about 3 or 4 hours before I could actually get some food, you know, enough sort of moisture in my mouth to actually get some food down. So yeah, you know, that's happened to me in pretty much every ultra race I've done. It so happens that this one was only 50 miles, so I didn't manage to get myself in such a state. But I could have only realistically run about another 3 miles before I would have been needing some proper help. So yeah, not clever, not sensible. I need to work out. It just sounds so simple. I'm running along thinking, just drink, just eat, just get something down, but it just doesn't really happen, and my stomach just feels so bad. So I need to have another look at some different nutrition options. Again, it's kind of the same old story. But yeah, luckily in the 50 miles, I managed to get enough down to get myself fueled to the end. But the time, you know, 6:35 is still a great time, but I missed my sort of time target there by about 20 minutes, and a lot of that came from really sort of bonking quite badly towards the end of the race. So yeah, that's just more work, you know, more stuff to do, more fuel options to look at before we get to some longer races later on in the year. So there we have it, guys. That's my little summary of the South Downs Way 50 mile. A really great day out, and big thanks to all the Centurion staff and volunteers for making, you know, my sort of dreams come possible in taking this guy home. And if you were out there running, spectating, whatever, I hope you had a great day. There were some fantastic scenes out there at the finish, and it was really good to hang around for a few hours afterwards and watch everybody coming across the line. So if you're out there running, well done to you. So yeah, let me know what's coming up in your sort of trading, and what sort of events and races you've got coming up. If you've got some tips from me on, I need some help on my nutrition and fueling strategies. It's not going to plan as usual at the moment. Marathon racing is so much easier. It's just 4 gels down, like clockwork, but with the ultras it's just a little bit more tricky, and I'm just not kind of nailing that properly at the moment. So if you've got some suggestions, I'm all ears to those at the moment. And yeah, I've just got this new hat which is about to come out. You can check these out on the website now, the logo on the front. They're getting it done on the side. So yeah, if you want to see those out, I'll put the links down there below. And as usual, for all the supporters and followers along on YouTube, there's a little discount code there to help you out with that. And we've got some buffs coming as well. The buffs are about to be delivered, so yeah, you can get those as well. So as usual, guys, thank you so much for following along. I couldn't make these videos and things without your support, and it just means the world to me. So yeah, let me know what's going on in your world. I've got the London Marathon coming up in 3 weeks, so we're doing some more content around that. And yeah, without further ado, I'm off to make some more videos for some marathon training, and I will see you in the next one.